morning folks, and welcome to another helping of Mr H's Hot Pot. You join me today with the girls in the ruins of the former Duxbury Park Colliery, which is in Adlington in Lancashire. And we've come for a little walk round. I'm actually right by one of the former shafts. I think it was shaft number 2. We'll take a little look inside there, but that's not what we've come to look at. We've come to look at something that's a bit of a mystery. So let's take a look at this shaft first of all, shall we? So this is the inside of the shaft. As you can see, they've built a brick surround around it. It closed this pit in about 1917 when the Ellerbeck Colliery, which is just further down there, and I did a video from a while ago, bought it as like a pumping pit so they could pump all the water into from their pit into this one. I believe the colliery opened in about 1876, something like that. And as I say, it closed in 1917. Now, there's something very old school on the top of this. As you can see, glass, that's banned now. It's not been allowed that since, I think, the 70s. There's an old bottle top there too on that one. So, yeah, you know, it's been closed quite a while. So let's have a look at this little mystery thing as I was going to come and have a look at, shall we? Because as interesting as all these ruins are, we'll save them for another day. Right then, this little mystery. It's here. It's an old gravestone. Now, I've come across many things when I've been mooching about in the woods, not only with these dogs, but with dogs in the past when I've been a kid. And I can honestly say I have never found an old gravestone just abandoned in the woods like this. So what we'll do is we'll clean it off now with this brush head that I've brought. Only the best archaeological tools at Mr H's Hot Pot. Eat your heart out, Tony Robinson. And join me in a minute when we'll clean it off and we'll see what it says. Right then, we've managed to get it cleaned off, and I don't know if you can make out the wording on that, but I'll read it out to you what bits we can see. It's only a partial gravestone, and although there's sort of 3 pieces, I think this piece here doesn't belong to it, so that's from another gravestone. So why there's gravestones been dumped in here, I don't know. But this one says, I'm assuming, to the, and then you can't make out that word, but I think it would be memory, of Thomas Buller, who died June the 6th, 1868. Aged 20-something years, and was buried at Blackrod Church. So we now know where this headstone's come from. The Lord is my shepherd, I shall not want. Also of John Buller, who died October the 5th, 1880, aged 30 years. Also of William Buller, who died, and I can't make out whether that's November or December, the 1st, 1881, something years. And then just a few words, which looks like song of and church. So, we have a bit of a mystery on our hands, Hot Potters. So what I think we'll do, I think we'll go to Blackrod Church, because it's about 3 miles away from here now, and we'll take a look at the church where this has come from. Have they been stolen and dumped in here, or have they been dumped in here deliberately? Let's find out. Right, well, we've arrived in the churchyard of St Catherine's Church here in Blackrod. Now, this church was founded before 1338 apparently. It's not the original building, obviously. It's had many developments through the 17th, 18th, 19th, but mainly the 20th century, where it had a chancel and new nave built, and that's where the gravestone comes from. They built over part of the graveyard, which we'll take a look at in a little moment. The only original part of this church is the church tower. That's the oldest part of this church. So we'll take a little look round now and we'll see where the Buller grave actually was. Whether there's still, you know, bodies and that underneath it, I don't know. But let's have a look. I'm now stood in what is a car park for St Catherine's Church, but at the beginning of the 20th century this was actually part of the churchyard, and this is where I believe the Buller grave actually was, not in this spot but around where I'm stood. because in 1905 they decided to build this chancel here and nave, which is at the back of me. And that work was undertaken by Leonard Fairclough. I'm sure you've all heard of Fairclough Construction, the big multi-construction company. Well, it all started with Leonard Fairclough from Adlington, and he started with a hand barrow apparently. Now, he undertook the work and he removed all the gravestones and he built that lovely part of the church that we can see in the background. But what did he do with all the rubble? Well, I'm sure he held on to it and then used it as hardcore, and I'm almost sure, if we look back through all the history of Duxbury Colliery, that he had the contract to cap those shafts, and that's where they ended up. So it does look like it was legitimately placed in there and they haven't been stolen from here and just dumped 3-4 mile away, you know. So I think that's our mystery solved. So let's get back to Duxbury Colliery now and we'll wrap this video up, shall we? So we're back where we started, which is with this gravestone. So my theory is that there was gravestones and rubble removed from St Catherine's Church when they rebuilt that chancel, and they used it to fill these mine shafts and cap them. Now, an interesting little point and a little bit of irony for you. Whilst I was travelling up to Blackrod Church, I was having a look on the old internet, and it turns out that Thomas Buller, who this gravestone belongs to, was actually a collier and he worked in the mines. How ironic that his gravestone of a collier should be removed and used as infill for a mine shaft. A little bit of irony there. Right, we're going to get off now, but before we do, I'll recover this gravestone because I wouldn't want somebody to just come in and smash it with an hammer for the sake of it. It looks like this has been here almost 100 years, so I'll cover it over and we'll leave it here for another 100 and somebody can come along and discover it for themselves. So, from myself, from Mrs H, and as always from the girls, it is bye-bye for now. We're going to get off and get a well-earned cup of tea.